Welcome to the Conscious Radio Network. Become enlightened, have fun, and tell all your friends and family to share with everyone they know. You can watch us on YouTube and Rumble while following us on Facebook, or find us on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Our podcasts can be found on Libsyn, iHeart, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and more. Most of all, remember to go to our official website at ConsciousRadioNetwork.com for past episodes, future shows, and scheduling. We also want to welcome our international audience. Don't stop now. Enjoy the community. Subscribe or follow today.
This is the Conscious Radio Network.
Hello and welcome wherever you might be on a spaceship we call Earth. This is Conscious Radio Network's The Seance Podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, please be sure to subscribe, like, share, comment, and also don't forget to listen wherever you listen to your podcasts. Today, our guest is an author, award-winning strongman competitor, ultra-marathon runner, and mental health coach. After an eye-opening experience with psilocybin, John transformed his life from self-destruction to self-discovery, now helping others on their journey to better mental health and personal growth. Let's welcome to the seance, John Borden. Man, that's an audience. Yeah.
Great crowd.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the intro, Paul. Really excited.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. How did this journey? Let's go down the rabbit hole, so to speak.
Yeah, man.
And psilocybin is now being recognized with the, I would say, mainstream medical community, microdosing, and then there's some, I'd say, lack of a better word, traditional methods. Tell us about your experience with this.
Yeah, man. So my experimentation started with it in October of 2022. It was really just getting to the point where it was coming into the cultural zeitgeist. And so when I tried it, it wasn't really with the intent of trying to elicit any sort of positive change. I was just doing the old school, eat some mushrooms and try to see some funky shit, right?
Yeah.
And man, when I tried it for the first time, my experimentation started off at a half a gram dose, which is just a little bit more than a microdose, and worked up to about 2 grams in the span of about a month prior to going to a concert that I was planning on going to, EDC, which isn't far from you here in Florida.
Yeah.
It's in Orlando every year. And man, I tried that half gram dose, and it was like a key got inserted into my brain and unlocked a flood of emotion and a flood of memories that I had repressed for essentially my whole life. And tried it a couple more times in the weeks that followed, upping the doses, just kind of seeing what the experience was going to be like. And over again, I just had realization after realization that keyed me into the knowledge that I had had an incredible amount of anxiety that was limiting me my whole life. I had had depression about where I was in life and what life was going to bring to me in the future. And then I finally found peace and presence to be able to accept those things, decide that that way of thinking wasn't serving me any longer, and choose how to proceed with my life from that point forward. And man, from the moment that I first took my bite of psilocybin, my first time in adulthood, I tried it once when I was 18. And we can talk about that later too. It wasn't exactly the type of experience that I had in my late 20s. Until a month later, when I got back from EDC, I looked at myself and said, holy shit, my life is in a completely different place than it was a month prior. I no longer binge drinking, had used cocaine for the last time over that time frame, and decided that I was done with it after 10 years of using it very regularly. And then just my values shifted, and how I approached life completely changed. So it was something that I recognized the power of. I recognized the ability to help make myself better and help make the relationships with the people in my life stronger. And, again, this was at a point where psilocybin was really just starting to enter the cultural mainstream. And so I decided that writing a book talking about my experience and showing how it could help people like me who, I wasn't a cancer patient. I didn't have crippling OCD that everyone could recognize and say, oh my God, this person needs help. I was desperately in need of help from a mental health standpoint, but really I didn't even recognize it, let alone the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And so being that quote unquote healthy normal that they talk about, I recognize that there's just an incredible opportunity for other people to have a similar type experience, and that by sharing my experience, that others might be able to gain some strength and maybe pike a curiosity to see what's out there for them to discover about themselves.
It is definitely a discovery. And I can vouch for it. On 2 occasions, my experiment with psilocybin, and as well as ayahuasca, I think further back than that. But I tell you, it is something that at the same time too, it's a surrender. You have to be willing to surrender when you get to that point. And unlocking, there is a shift. This is thing that just unlocks and kind of shifts things in a way. And what I've also noticed, and this segues into my next question, is did you have some sort of I wouldn't say an onboarding type thing, but questions in your mind, like affirmations in your mind that you're telling yourself, hey, I am going to step in and willing to surrender. And these are the things that I want to, not necessarily correct, but these are the things that I want to emphasize on and shift. Or did it choose you? Or did that choose you? You're like, we're not going to give you a choice. We're just going to show you, put that, open up the closet and pull out the skeletons, and here you go.
Yeah. Well, I know that you just said you've done ayahuasca and you had an experience with psilocybin yourself. And so I'm assuming with the ayahuasca, you went through some sort of coaching prior to that, in terms of setting an intention, really understanding what you're looking to get out of the experience. And that's exactly how I direct people to do it nowadays. I coach people on how to use psilocybin for their own transformational experiences. And a big part of that is getting to the root of what we feel like is limiting them, setting the intention to focus on that throughout their experience and going towards that. But that was not my experience whatsoever. Mine was completely recreational. It was, I got home from the bars on a Sunday afternoon and had a little bit because I was intending to go to a music festival. I wanted to try it before going to the festival to make sure I wouldn't freak out the first time really trying mushrooms in adulthood. And I was talking to a friend and a memory came up of a past relationship that had ended 3 years prior that I never really processed, never really got over. And as soon as my mind went to that, it was like, whoosh, oh my God, all of these memories are just flooding my mind, things that I just locked away and forced myself to not think about. I was a professional compartmentalizer, from different things that happened to me in my childhood to, getting fired from jobs and not ultimately accepting responsibility because I just pushed it off as someone else's problem and something that wasn't my problem to deal with. But once I started experimenting with the psilocybin, I was in environments where I wasn't home alone by myself for the most part, for the most impactful trip I was. But for the most part was around people, and those interactions with my friends just brought up certain memories, brought up certain situations that triggered my mind to go in the direction of, okay, wait a second, this is something that's been limiting me my whole life. Maybe if I thought about this a little bit differently, I can get to a different conclusion and choose a different way of thinking for myself. And, the title of my book ended up becoming Your Mindset is Your Reality. And that was a text that I sent my mother, actually, after the 6th of 6 sessions that are documented in my book. And when I reached that point where, I sent her that text, it was with the understanding that nothing in my life had changed over the previous month, other than how I thought about the things that had happened to me earlier in life. And so by dictating my thoughts and choosing to frame the events in my life in a different way, I was able to reach a completely different conclusion and look at my life with gratitude and satisfaction and happiness rather than anxiousness and, worry and all of these negative emotions that were keeping me locked in patterns of acting. So no, there wasn't an intention, because I didn't think that I needed it,
Yeah.
I was just along for the ride, and man, it just brought me through so many different stages of emotional revelation for myself that helped to heal me in such a beautiful way.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, as a disclaimer, for those who are listening or are going to be watching, by all means, don't just grab some mushrooms. And you know what? We're not endorsing to just go grab some mushrooms and just start, going at it. I, like you said, I seek somebody who can coach you through it. It's not for everybody. It's definitely not for everybody. I've seen people and heard some bad stories of people just really just freaking out and just going crazy.
Well, the one thing you had mentioned is the surrender thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So many of us have such deep-seated anxiety, anxiety over what the fear of the unknown is going to bring.
Yeah.
And so being in that situation that's precipitated by psilocybin mushrooms forces you to release that control. If you don't, that's what creates the bad trip.
Yeah.
Because there's this fight in your mind between you trying to hold on to the reality that you've created for yourself and not allowing yourself to take a step back and view things from a different perspective. So what psilocybin does is it works on the default mode network, right? Which is what we consider the seat of the brain for your sense of self and for the ego. And when that is slowed down to a point where it's not operating at full capacity, which is what happens with psilocybin, all of the things that you've constructed about yourself, your life, the world that we live in, and how you fit into it become to melt away. And it's just a short time, right? The trip with psilocybin is only about 4 hours. It's not like LSD, which is like 12, or mescaline, which is the whole day, or
days. Could be.
But through that time, if you're fighting it the whole time, you're going to be in this terrible case of your own head that doesn't allow you to see things from a different perspective. And it's really getting to that point of acceptance that whatever you've told yourself over your life may not be correct, and that it's okay to look with a different lens.
Yeah. Being ready for it. And I've never done it alone.
Mm-hmm.
Of the 3 times I've used it, I was with somebody. So it was like, okay, that way, especially the first time. First time is definitely, you gotta definitely be with somebody. Because when something happens and you're not ready for it, whoa, it's like, don't call 911 yet. And but yeah, it's when let's go into the book here. Your mindset, your reality. Tell us a little bit about the book.
Yeah, man. So the book really follows. It's my whole life story. The people that have read it say, "Wow, I know John so intimately because I've read the book." And that was really my intent with it, is to just be a no holds barred. This is who I am. This is who I was. These are the things that I realized about myself and recognized that I needed to make a change on. And this is where my life is going from here. And it's really, it's a beautiful thing because it ends in terms of timeline. About a year ago, it ends March 27th, which is the day that I completed the program 75 Hard in terms of timeline of last year. And since then, I've completed so many more things that just help to, solidify the fact that I'm on a different path than I was earlier in my life. Earlier in my life, up until the point of discovery that I found that I started to write the book about, I've been someone that drank to blackout every week. I was using cocaine on a regular basis. I was going through about an 8-ball a week, which is about $150 worth of cocaine a week. Was chasing sex like it was, nobody's business. Addicted to porn, social media, chewing tobacco, and all of that changed in a month. And so I started to say, okay, well, I'm not using my time in all these things that aren't constructive anymore. How do I spend my time to help make my life better, to help make the lives of people around me better? And it started off, small, community-based, doing things with my friends, cooking for people. I would go out and pack a bag worth of food and go around to the homeless population of Tampa and feed them, and doing little things like that. But then it really got to a point of self-discovery from a fitness standpoint. And I'd been someone who had been into health and fitness my whole life. It really started, back when I was a kid and started in baseball and soccer as a young child. But then when I was in 6th grade, I had the opportunity to do the Presidential Fitness Award testing. Is that something that
I've heard of it? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it got discontinued in 2013, but it tested you in a mile run, shuttle run, sit-ups, push-ups, and a sit and reach. And so if you hit a certain mark in all those tests, you got the Presidential Fitness Award. But I didn't get that the first time, and I thought I was athletic. I was shocked. I was like, "What the hell? This is not right." So I went to my PE teacher and I was like, "Hey, Ms. Phillips, give me another chance." And she's like, "Okay, well, you got a month before you have to submit the results." So I started running every day, doing push-ups and sit-ups every day, and just got myself to the point where I did get that Presidential Fitness Award. And that sparked a love for fitness that followed me my whole life. And even through, my addicted times and not making the best choices for myself in a wide variety of aspects, I was always going to the gym, 6-7 days a week, every week for my whole life. And then when I had my experience with mushrooms, it kind of showed me, wait a second, I've been doing all this work, moving weights, very heavily into weight training. But it's left my body super tight, rigid. I feel like I can't move very well, and started to get more into yoga, cardio, just stretching and understanding the way that my body moved more intimately. And that's one of the beautiful things about psychedelics as well, is that it really puts you in tune with your body, your proprioception, the awareness of the way that your body moves, the way that your feet touch the ground, the way that the individual muscles slide past each other, interact with each other. It's a really beautiful thing that just gives you awareness to the intricate details of your body movements. And so I started to get really in tune with that, and just really in tune with the power that I had and the strength that I had. And so I had the opportunity to do a Spartan race at the end of 2023, and had thought about doing one for the longest time, had tried to organize friends a couple of times over the decade that followed, fell through, was trying to organize friends for this one here in Central Florida, in Sebring. Those friends didn't sign up until 2 weeks before the race. I'm like, you know what? I wanted to do this for myself. Let's do it for myself. And it didn't matter that I hadn't run in over 10 years. I signed up for the half marathon one. I gave myself 2 weeks to prepare. So I ran a couple times. I was like, well, if people can do it, then I can do it. Make it through that finish line. And I did. I finished in the top 5% of the open division, and was like, man, I'm so much stronger than I give myself credit for. What else can I challenge myself with?
Yeah, right. What else?
Right. And so
I'm not done yet.
Yeah. It went from that into triathlons, into ultra marathons. I completed a 46-mile ultra marathon last August, into strongman competitions, which I've done 2 of now, and did my last one this past Saturday. And I just continue to find myself in positions where I have the ability to get on that starting line and see how much I've got. And it's been an incredible journey over the past, year and a half now to this point, of just trying to find where that breaking point is. It hasn't come yet.
I've got an idea to share with you when we're done recording, because I don't want to give away too many really good juicy things on on the show, because that's for a later project. But I got a project that came to me a couple weeks ago, and I want to share it with you. Tell me and let you know what you think. Cool. What's interesting is, like we were just talking earlier about, all these, about the taboo of mushrooms and all these different, psychedelics and stuff. And this is something that's ancient. Native Americans have used it. Tribes around the world have used it. And it is a medicine. It's a medicine. It's not like they used it every day. Like, hey, have a cup of psilocybin in the morning, and off you go. No, the shamans have used it for centuries, if not millennia, for just for medicine, to heal, to allow someone, the mind, body, and spirit to realign itself. What is your approach when you introduce when you work with people and in coaching them through this, as well as kind of merging it in parallel with your other work like fitness and coaching?
Yeah. So the biggest thing is that people have to be comfortable with themselves. They have to be comfortable with me, because I'm going to be there for them through the experience, and they have to be comfortable with the medicine. And so, it's a multi-week coaching program that we go through prior to introducing any psilocybin. And I just need to make sure that they're comfortable talking to me, getting into things that, maybe they don't share with a lot of people. Because, as the psilocybin starts to take hold in the brain, they have to be comfortable with going down those rabbit holes that maybe they haven't explored in some time. And so it's really, it's a process where kid gloves have to be used, because you don't want somebody having that negative experience where, something comes up that they're unprepared to address, or they don't feel comfortable addressing with me for whatever reason. And, so it just being intentional with the dosing leading up to it, usually starting with a microdose, so they get the feeling of what it feels like and kind of understand, okay, this is what the onset feels like. Because, even for me now, even taking a microdose, there's a small amount of anxiety that comes right when you take it. And It's like, okay, you need to get past this. So we focus on breathing. We focus on, certain mantras that they develop for themselves to bring themselves back down to equilibrium and be able to go at it from a clear head. And you brought up something about the fitness aspect. And so I haven't yet worked with anybody who's interested in using it in conjunction with their fitness training. But it is something that I'm very open to doing and would like to have that experience with someone other than myself, because over the past number of years, I've developed such an intricate knowledge of the way that my body moves. And I credit that largely to my work with psilocybin and LSD, in being able to tune into my body and find out exactly what it is that I need to do things correctly for myself, whether that's from a biomechanics standpoint or just from a tapping into my will standpoint. All of my races, all of my competitions, I do while on psychedelics, either LSD or psilocybin, and not at a high dose, not to a point where, the monkey bars are turning into snakes or anything like that. Which is a common misconception about.
It's like almost imagining a scene of Forrest Gump when he's running. He's like tripping. Whoa,
Jenny, what is this?
Right.
Yeah, but I do psychedelics for all of my competitions, and I find that it helps me to stay incredibly focused, because when you're in that state of mind and you are comfortable with the feeling of, let's say LSD, you're able to really gain control of your mind and focus completely on one thing. I'll give this example. When I did my first strongman competition, I'm 168 pounds, right? I'm not a huge guy. But the last event in the competition that I did involved picking up a 215-pound stone and putting that over a bar. And then your opponent would pick up the stone and put it back over the bar. And so it was whoever the last person standing is the winner. And in practice, I'd been able to do that one time, place the 215-pound stone over the bar.
Yeah.
In competition, I defeated 2 opponents and put the stone over the bar 15 times.
Wow.
Yeah. Adrenaline's a factor, muscle memory is a factor. But I think that psychedelics have just an incredible ability to put you in touch with your mind and your body and really to squeeze the most out of yourself. And so I give a lot of credit to what I was able to bring out for myself because of the influence of the LSD during that experience.
Yeah. Huh. Wow, that is cool. That's it's amazing what how it tricks the mind over matter thing. It doesn't allow it like it shuts off the thinking thing and that self-doubt and just goes, you could do it. This is and it's almost like throws all the numbers right out the window. No, this is it. It's plain and simple. You're gonna do it. You can do it. It's light as a feather. Yeah,
that's exactly it, man. And I won't pretend like it's a magic pill. There's nothing out there that is. There's a lot of work that I had to do on myself to be able to accept the teachings of what I learned through my psychedelics experiences, to be able to get to the point where it's used constructively and that there are these positive changes coming. I have done a lot of work from the self-development space in terms of, reading and researching on my own and being able to look at those learnings, look at those readings and say, okay, what from this can I apply to my own life? And then the openness that comes with psychedelics to be able to say, okay, well, I'm not locked into the way I was thinking before. There's some credence to what I'm learning here. Let's tap into that. Let's go down this direction and see what happens.
yeah.
And so, when it comes to the athletic stuff, breath work, mindfulness, meditation, just telling yourself, I'm a fucking badass and I'm going to do this shit.
Yeah.
Like you said, mind over matter. You tell yourself you're a machine and you're going to be a machine. You tell yourself that stone's too heavy and it's going to sit at your feet for the rest of your life. But if you believe in yourself, you truly, truly believe in yourself, there's nothing that you can't do.
Yeah. Yeah. There's one thing that kind of, and it's the only thing that I can remember is that kind of just, I don't know. It was funny though, when every time that I would have a dose that, and it's getting ready to kick in, because I would just thought deep yawns, really deep yawns to the point where it just feels uncomfortable. It's like, what the heck is going on? And you're just yawning and you can't stop.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume you have the same effect, and you're like,
yeah, and it's so funny because my girlfriend and I were talking about that with one of my friends, maybe a month or two ago, and he was like, what yawns? And I'm like, are you crazy? It comes up every time.
Yeah.
I think that there's, I think that psilocybin specifically, it uses a lot of oxygen because your brain is operating at a much higher level, right? So there's a lot of oxygen that your body needs, and that the yawn is your way of, regulating that oxygen carbon dioxide ratio a little bit more efficiently. And so that's my assumption of what that is.
Yeah.
I think I looked into it before and nobody really has a true scientific explanation for what's going on there, but that's my story. I'm going to roll with it.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, but it just felt so, every time I think about it and remember it, it's like, man, yeah, those are just, it's almost like you hadn't slept in a month.
Mm-hmm.
And you're so tired, but you can't sleep, and you're just, wow, really, really, really deep to where it gets really uncomfortable. But that's right when it starts to kick in. That was when my friend told me that the first time. She goes, no, it means you're ready. You're ready. You're with Alice getting ready to jump down the rabbit hole.
Absolutely. And it's like you get that come up, you get that little tingly, you get those yawns, and then it hits you and you're like, whoa, what is going on? And then there's that whirlwind that kind of sucks you in for an hour or however long it lasts.
Yeah.
And then it's just boom, skies open, beautiful sunshine, birds are chirping, and life is never better.
Yeah, it is weird too. Like your hearing just becomes 10,000 times better, and everything around you, the entire room starts breathing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Yeah, you can see the life present in anything, you
oh
know?
yeah, yeah. I remember I was staring at the ceiling, just a
Mhm,
plain old white ceiling, the regular popcorn ceiling that they normally have.
mhm.
I'm staring at it for, I don't know, it felt like forever. I'm staring at it, and I'm seeing through the space time and all these just things going on within the space of the popcorn ceiling, and it was alive. It was, yeah.
It's magical, man. So many things that we take for granted,
Yeah.
like that, right? Like somebody had to go up there and paint all that stuff on there, whoever they do that. Somebody had to, come out here to St. Pete and create this wall that separates Tampa Bay from St. Pete and build all of that. And, someone had to come out here, 500 years ago or whenever Florida was
Yeah.
founded and say, hey, this is a place worth settling. And it just taps you into those little hints that we take for granted so much of the time, that, the wall is typically insignificant, but it's not when you think about it.
Mhm.
Look how much work had to be done of someone developing the process to put up those walls and develop the paint and, find the right area to build the house and all the little things that have gone into making our lives as easy and simple as they are now that we take for granted. You just gain appreciation and gratitude for all the little things.
Yeah. Yeah. Where can people find you, and what they can expect when they go to your website?
Yeah, man. So the platform I'm most active on is Instagram. I'm Johnny B on there. That's Johnny JohNNIEBE. I'm also on X, though I use it a little bit less frequently. It's at psilocybin fit. And my website is getpsychedfitness.com. You'll see a whole bunch of stuff about me, my lovely partner, Thansha, who is the uh, more attractive side of Get Psyched Fitness, and the amazing things that we're doing to help build up the St. community here, the St. Pete community here. And then my book is available on Amazon. Your Mindset is Your Reality. And I'm recording the audiobook right now, so that shouldn't be out too much longer. If you or anyone else is coming to Miami in May, I'm going to be speaking at the Canadelic Convention. I'm on a panel with myself, former NHL hockey player Daniel Carcillo, who's been very active in the psychedelics community for traumatic brain injury,
Mm.
and former Heisman Award-winning running back and first overall draft pick Ricky Williams. So
Wow.
it's going to be the three of us speaking at Canadelic, and my goal is to get the audiobook ready by then.
Nice. Nice. So before we wrap up the show, what do you like to offer as a takeaway for our guests, some words of wisdom?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that I aim to impart with anybody is that no matter where you are in life, you have the ability to go for things that really matter to you. You can be at a job that you don't love. You can be in a relationship that isn't right for you. You can be doing things what you perceive as wrong for your entire life. But none of that matters from this moment forward. You have the ability right now to choose whatever you want your future to look like. So if there's something that excites you, there's something that really fires you up that you know would help you get out of bed on a regular basis, just fucking go for it. We only have one life to live. And if you don't get busy living, you're going to get busy dying, man.
Yeah. 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 We don't spend enough time using, and that's the thing too, is using our intuition. We gotta start using our intuition instead of overthinking things, and don't take anything for granted. Just
Oh, yeah.
everybody knows what is right. Everybody knows what they need to do. It's the procrastination and the overthinking that sets us on a path of self-destruction.
Oh, Paul, if you wanted to extend this for an extra couple minutes, I could tell you a story about intuition that would work.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I got into I'm a personal trainer and mental health coach right now, right? But I wasn't that for my whole life until a little over a year ago. And I had this moment where I was a director of sales for a company here in Tampa. I had an expected earnings of, 6 figures plus. I was, in a position that I had strived to get to for a long time, thinking that that was what would make me happy and give me this sense of fulfillment and purpose. But after doing that job for a month and a half, really, I recognized that it wasn't that. It wasn't what I expected it to be. It wasn't this key to happiness that I had told myself it would be. And so I went out to play pickleball with one of my friends, and he noticed that my mind wasn't on the game. And I went out to dinner with him instead of playing pickleball, and we just had a conversation. After that, I started to bike home, and I started biking back to my apartment. But I got an intuitive hit that said, don't go home, you got to stay out. And so instead of turning left into my apartment, I turned right and I biked down to the St. Pete Pier. And I got down to the end of the pier. I biked all the way to the end, and it was a beautiful, dark night, nobody on the pier, which is shocking for a Thursday night in St. Petersburg. But I got to the end of the pier and I just broke down crying.
Wow.
And so I wheeled my bike up to the front of the pier and I laid on the grass looking up at the stars. And I had a conversation with God for the first time in my life. And I had never been a religious person. The concept of God was very foreign to me. But I had a voice come to me and it said, dude, I've sent you intuition your whole life and you haven't listened. Are you ready to start listening? And I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm yours. Give it to me. And so I got the message, okay, you know what you need to do. So I quit my job 2 days later. I got my personal training certification and started on this path that I'm on now. And, that intuition led to a number of very positive things, but I'm going to focus on one because it's been the most impactful. And I had the ability to compete in this competition called DecaFit on September 7th of last year. And so I drove up to Ocala for DecaFit. I woke up at 5:30 in the morning to get out to the venue. I competed in this. It's an hour-long competition, so I completely spent myself. Stopped for lunch, drove home, 2 hours home, met some friends for lunch. I get a text from a friend that's like, hey, I can't meet for lunch, but I'm going to this party later if you want to come. And there's the thinking brain and there's the feeling brain. And so my thinking brain is saying, well, no, you're not established in your career yet. You need to drive Uber. That's what I do on the weekends to help myself make money. But that feeling thinking brain said, no. Go to the party. Enjoy yourself. And so I'm like, okay, I'll go to the party, but I need to go home and nap first. I'll probably be there around 6 o'clock. So that's what I sent in the group chat. I lay down to nap around 2:30. And I just can't nap. And I keep getting a message saying, you can't nap. Just get up and go to the party. Just get up and go to the party. And after like 30 minutes laying down, I get up, I look at my phone. I'm like, okay, it's 2:55. I can still nap for 2 hours, wake up, take a cold shower, get to this party at the time I said I'm going to get there. There's no rush. Just lay down and nap. Relax.
Yeah.
So I lay down. And as soon as I lay down, I get, don't nap, go to the party, get up and go to the party. What are you doing? You're not listening, go to the party now.
Yeah.
Get up in bed like, holy shit, what the is going on? What is going on? But I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to the party now. So I get up and I text my friends, guys, I'll be there at 4:30. So I get there at 4:30. I walk in. My friend hands me the microphone. As soon as I walk in, I do one song on karaoke because they were doing it for the party. And then I finish and I get a tap on the shoulder. Hey, I'm actually performing for the party, but I have a bunch of equipment in my car. Can you help me with it? And so I'm like, sure. I'm like, hey, wait a second. This girl's kind of cute. And so we end up talking and talking and talking. And 30 minutes later, I'm like, yeah, I came here to hang out with my friends. So let me just go make sure that they don't think I'm ditching them. But really great to meet you. So she sets up, she performs for the party. If I got there at 6, she already would have been performing. We wouldn't have gotten to have this beautiful conversation. But then we went on our first date 2 days later.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks after that, her house got flooded in Hurricane Helene. And she needed a place to move. So we've been living together for the last 7 months, and it's been the most beautiful relationship I ever could have asked for. And if I didn't listen to the intuition when it was coming, I never would have made that connection.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing what our intuition, yet the divine, our spirit guides, whatever we call it, I think it's all of it.
Yep.
What they assist us in. And I believe they assist us all the time. We just got to learn how to listen.
Oh, yeah.
That, brother, is an awesome story. That is awesome. Congratulations, by the way.
Appreciate that, Paul.
Very welcome. Very welcome. Anyway, well, I'll let you go. We already we had that's actually 2 takeaways. So for those, a double whammy today for our show. So
There it is.
definitely
All that intuition.
Yeah. And definitely for those out there, go to getpsychedfitness.com and go check out on Amazon Your Mindset is Your Reality by John Borden. And again, thank you again, John, very, very much. And welcome back anytime. If you have another book coming out or a different program coming out, something new, let us know, and we'll get you back on the show.
Appreciate you, Paul.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. And stay tuned. Got that idea to share with you. But anyway, thank you, everybody, for watching the Seance Podcast. And until next time, we'll see you then.